Interesting thing is, I haven't watched this video because I don't really watch anything else. You obviously briefed me on it, and I've seen a couple of clips that have been sent to me to prepare for this show. So I don't really, have any massive issue with it. But what I would say is that there's also different content types. I mean, I have an idea of some content, and I think, who's actually watching this? And then someone will say, "Oh, 1,000 people watching it, or 2,000 people watching it." I'll go, fair play. There are people in the world that want that type of content. I'm not doing it. And that's the great thing. Everybody's really different, aren't they? But I think the other thing is that sometimes I think it gets a little bit lost. You've got a community, you probably let's be honest, they're all making money. They can pretend it. I'd sit here and say, we're all making a living. That's what we're all doing. So let's not pretend that, the United stands the enemy because it's all corporate. It's not corporate at all. It makes money. It's definitely doing that. But they're all making money as well. They're all taking the super chats.
My favorite thing is, sorry to interject, is it's if you don't like something, just be honest why you don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like Mark because I don't like the jokes he tells, or I don't like the way his personality isn't something I like. Because I hear a lot of weird stuff. Like, I see people criticize you because they got a fake name. Right. And I'm like, but you work with other content creators that have stage names. You have some people that don't like me that go, because you put your emotions on a thumbnail like this. I'm like, that's fair. But then they stream with and they're friends with people that do the same thing. And that's the only time it gets a little bit jarring, is when the rationale you give for not liking someone is you accept it from friends of yours that also do it. I just feel like if you're going to give the opinion that you don't like someone, just give the honest reason as to why, as opposed to kind of I had someone once say, I don't really, he was a guy on Spaces, and I said, "Oh, do you want to come on the Terrace?" He went, "Not really." Why? He goes, "It's got a problem with how you make content." I was like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, you'll put people's opinions out there no matter what they say, and then they might get abuse." I said, "Yeah, because they asked for the content to go out, so I post it. But what if they get abuse?" Well, I've had a number of people part of Terry, can you take this down? Some because they haven't liked the backlash it's given. Some it's because they've got a new job and they don't want the content out there anymore. Like, we recently deleted a lot of old content, and a lot of it was because friends of mine that have now gone on to have very good careers outside of this, like, "Terry, do you mind taking that down? I don't want my bosses to see it because I was swearing, or just I don't want it on the internet anymore." And I'll respect people in that way. But the irony about this person that called it out is that he now works with a fan channel who do fan cams, whose fan cams get abused by people online every single week, right? Because the opinions are there. Now, by the way, that channel, they're not doing anything wrong. I just find it ironic that you didn't like the Terrace because it put fan opinion out there, but now you're working for a channel that puts fan opinion out there. And we had a conversation about it, and he basically just said, "Yeah, I realized what I thought was wrong." And he basically said, "It's because I didn't like you very much, and I've grown to actually think you're not a bad guy." And that was like a really nice moment for me, because I can handle people not liking me because I don't need everybody's approval. But it's when you hear the excuses, you think, well, hang on a minute, you don't like me because of my thumbnails, but you like these 5 guys that have, some of them have very similar thumbnails because we use the same thumbnail designer. It doesn't make any sense. So I just think people need to be honest about it, or just maybe stay in your own lane and say nothing, maybe.
I've done it for 10 years, and I've always given people advice, and whether people like it or not, I've gone from nothing to 2 million subscribers, massive amounts of views, etc. Whatever. And the point is, you learn a lot. And one thing I would say is, you don't dismantle your opposition by spreading lies about them, hating on them, ignoring them. Some people seem to think it would be a strange behavior to monitor your rivals and what they're doing well, like you're obsessed by them. 10 years I've been doing this. When I started off, AFTV, True Geordie, used to watch their content, see what they were doing, learn from it. Always had my own voice. Look, as I said, I think the most important thing is to say is that I haven't got an issue with anybody having any issue with the United Stand or anything like that. We're all in the same industry, and everybody who's making content with the community deserves respect. It's hard work, and fair play to them, and good luck to them, because it's very difficult and you have to make a lot of sacrifices. But obsessing about others is not going to do you any good. And I'm not going to say I haven't done it in the past, a long time ago, but it's a tough industry. And I think some people maybe look at other content and go, "Oh, they're shit, this, that, and the other." But you're disrespecting the communities that those people have built. And I might not understand those communities. I might not understand why people like that type of content. But if people are watching it, it serves a purpose, doesn't it? And ultimately, I suppose that's all I would say about it. But what I'd also say as well is if you've got beef or whatever it is with other content providers, surely the aim would be to build towards doing content with them so that you can expose them because you're a better content creator. But that doesn't seem to be the end game either. It seems to be, I don't like that content creator, so I'll say bad things about them, but I'd never do anything with them. I know, no.
Yeah,
and I'm sort of like, oh, are we not in an entertainment space anyway? You know?
Yeah, well, you and I fell out, and I look back at it now, and it was petty things really, and we've had these conversations privately and everything else, and I look back at it, and my biggest regret in the early stages of this thing is that someone would have an opinion I didn't like about football, or say something about my opinion, and I would react in a very bad way. So I'm also not saying these things from a position of, well, I'd never do that. I'm speaking about it from somebody that's made mistakes, that did things wrong. I also, people have done things to me and said things about me that they've later sort of apologized for, as an example. And often it's sometimes you don't understand someone's humor. So I fell out of a lot of people in the early stages because do you remember a show I launched? And it was a horrible name now, but I think it was called Football's Question Time. You came on it. And the idea was, it was the first time there was ever, and this is the irony of evolution, it was the first show, I think, in this space where there was going to be fans from different channels on it.
Yeah,
and we were going to be talking about rival clubs. And that was always what I wanted to do. And I always remember the brilliant late Claude. He was such a lovely and honest man. He went, I can't come on that show, Terry. I went, oh, how come? He said, my knowledge on other people's clubs is so bad, I'm just not going to pretend. And I was tagging loads of other content creators, and my hashtag was, do you have the bollocks? Do you have the balls to come on? I didn't mean that in a horrible way. It was just me being me. And if I'd have been in front of them and they'd heard me say it, they would have seen that it was jovial. But I get when they're tweeting people, it can be seen as, who's this dickhead? And I've learned from those things as best I can. And I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form, but I do think as an industry, I think there are a lot of misconceptions. I think people will think a lot of things about you that are not true based on somebody else's poor interpretation, as an example. There's also jealousy that comes in. And the irony in it is this: there are people that are used to dislike me, have admitted, it's because I saw you doing well. Now that they're doing well, we've reconnected because they've gone. I then started having people speak about you, how I used to talk about you. I get it now. I understand. And I think there's an evolution in this space as well that you kind of go through. And I think I'll end this little segment by just saying this: you don't have to like everybody. You don't have to prop everybody's content up, but just be mindful that there are a group of people out there that are trying to stop what we're doing indirectly, but they're trying to stop it by flooding the space with money, flooding it with celebrity, flooding it with massive production teams. And that is the mainstream media. And I'm not saying don't work with them, and I'm not saying ignore them, because you can use it to boost yourself. But as a fan channel community, the most important thing we can do is try to create as much unity as possible. Have your arguments, have your fallouts over footballing opinions, but make content, make it big, make it grow. Get 100,000 views, get 200,000 views. Well done to you, rather than separating your audiences by fighting each other and shrinking what we do, because divided we will fall to the mainstream media in that space is my personal belief. So there we go. And I want to say, Mark, sorry, oh my God, sorry.
Just one thing I was going to say as well. I think some people do get quite agitated about whether they did it first. Like, we did this first, we did that first. And at the end of the day, I'd leave you with this on that, is that, when you lose your virginity and then you find somebody who's, better, and then the person you lost virginity on the door knocks on the door and goes, yeah, well, you might be good, but I was first. I'm there going, yeah, but she's way better than you. Like, you might have been first, but you're not better. And it's like, but people are like, it was my idea first. It was my idea first. In life, just because the first guy that figured out crocodile eat you, he got ate. The next guy didn't.
I so agree. No, I so agree. I always think, who was the first person that jumped off something really big and tall and hit the floor? Someone did it first. And everyone went, that's a bad idea. I do agree. You see a lot of that. Sort of, I mean, even fan cams, Redmen and AFTV, Stretford Paddock, then they were the first three to do it. But again, it wasn't even, this is not a dig. They were the first fan-led people to do it. But Vox Pops had existed for decades. I think I was one of the first, if not the first, channel to start talking about multiple clubs at the same time, the top 6 teams, at the same time. And we've evolved on that, and other people have started to do it. There has definitely been shows that people have done, and I've gone, we started a show a few years ago called The 12th Man, which was like a preview show. And I tell you where got the idea from was watching The Gloves Are Off in boxing, where you get Trevor Nelson in the middle, the boxers either side in a dark room, and they speak. And I thought that'd be a good show. We stopped doing it just because I had timing issues. Kids, we couldn't do it because we don't have the production value to have more people come in and help produce the shows. So I can't be there for everything. But we all borrow ideas and see things that other people have done. And I think that we have to stop. If someone steals your title of your show, the colors, the graphics, the thumbnail, fair enough, have a conversation with them. But there isn't anything that is by and large completely and utterly original. It might be new to the football fan content space, but I bet you can find that a game show or Soccer AM or someone has done something similar before. And I just think people have got to drop the arrogance and the entitlement that, well, that's my thing. Again, if you think you've invented it and you invented it from scratch, get it patented, get it trademarked and copyright, and get it and charge people for it as an example. Go and do that. But
look at the mainstream now. Like, a lot of their content is looking at what we're doing on YouTube and taking it into the mainstream. I mean, like, I saw the other day, Talk Shit have actually started their own Man United YouTube channel. So
yeah,
and they'll probably do an Arsenal one next.
Talk Sport done the same, haven't they? They've got their own dedicated.
And it's like, well,
teams.
They're only doing that because they're looking at the success of AFTV and United Stand and everything else. So, you know, I think that's the thing I would lay off is, like, you look at that list on my left, and I don't know how a lot of them are. Some of them are it's very interesting. They've gone and done their own thing, having started off on things like United Stand, AFTV, whatever, which is great. But how many of those people will actually end up being, what I call bitches to the mainstream? I would say keep doing what you're doing, building your own community. Build your own. That's the only way you'll win. But some of them start going, oh yeah, I will go on Sky, I will go on this, that, and the other. And it's like, we're going full circle again, then, aren't we? They're winning again because they're back in control.
I agree. And look, a lot of people on that list I know very well. A lot of them go on my shows. A lot of them have worked with many of them. And he even helped start. I always tell this story with pride that when you first started Soccerbox, we used to post your videos and then direct people to go and watch them. I remember the first 2 or 3 that you did when you were Soccerbox TV. We would post it. All of our content was crap at the beginning, but I remember we'd post it and then, like, leave a comment and say, go check out this channel. And that's the one thing I'm proud of with the Football Terrace is we've done that regularly. The amount of people that have either phoned in, or some have reached out directly, some have phoned into shows, others we've found on Twitter, we've found online. Some of them now are working in brilliant jobs in the industry. And it was off the back of phoning in to a call-in show of mine. And look, I'm not going to even mention who these people are because it's not about that. It's just about saying that is what the fan channel community should be. They know who they are. I get a Christmas card or a drink every year from them and always get nice messages. And I think we need to do more of that as a community because I think everybody will benefit. And it's like
you go back to the award show thing there. I mean, I don't really value them anyway for many reasons. But if they were going to do an award show, they should put people like me and Robbie on a fucking panel. Me, Robbie, and Chris Pajak from the bloody Redmen, who've been in from the start, who I know personally wouldn't be biased, who would probably take everyone from there and be actually quite fair and go, well, let's have a look at the growth, let's have a look at the views, let's have a look at everything there. Even then, people would go, oh, that's not fair, because, it's like the Oscars. But yeah, I just think, it's,
I hear you.
There's a lot of people making a lot of good content who are working really, really hard. And that's I respect that.
Same, mate, same. The viewers.